All right, boys and girls, now that Valentine's Day is up, I could get down to business. And I want to open up, because I want to take this in a new direction, because I know when I first started this channel, I said that I wanted to stick specifically to the stats, because I want to not get involved in the sensationalization and all that. And it's not because I'm afraid of poking feathers, but it's also just because I understand that the way the landscape of the sport is the way it is, because you always see all these ones where it's like all these what's it called? These channels, it's early morning, where they all say, oh, Nina Drama is an industry plant. Maybe she had some strings pulled and they put her on a pedestal or something like that. But as much as I complain about where Nina Drama's at, what does that do for my channel? Not much. That's what they're going to do. They're going to have their forefronts. They're going to have the people they hire. One of the uncomfortable situations I've realized about the world is you could work really hard for something, and because of politics or nepotism, someone just takes the position you've worked years for, and it's really not fair. Life's not about how long or hard you work. Okay? I'm sorry. It's not. And that's why the only thing I can control is what goes in and out of this channel. And I'm still responsible for that, but I also understand that the fan base does not want too much sugarcoating, which I've been accused of. And I just understand that on the off chance this really takes off and I go further with this, I might be working with some of those fighters if I do an interview or nail one, right? And I want to be on good terms and make it easier. I'll say it, I'm not trying to pander to the industry. And I'll prove it to you because I'm asking a similar question. Because the Rampage Jackson situation has taken a few chapter turns to the point where now it's starting to get, because I already covered the Bryce Mitchell thing. I don't agree with what he said, context or not, but I don't think that he should be put on that podcast to just be berated and put in a box, because he took 2 seconds to explain his actual point, and then it just spiraled. It was a disaster of a podcast. Honestly, they made a mistake deleting that, because then that just shows they're admitting defeat. I think it's just, and you got to wear your L's on the corner a little bit. For me, dude, it's kind of like, if someone insults me or is trying to get under my skin, I lean into it, because the second I give them the reaction they want, they've won. You realize that when you're in a schoolyard, right, and some kid's picking on you, don't show him that you're offended, because he's only going to hammer it home even worse. And that's what kind of happened, because you're reading now the Forrest Griffin podcast, and, I saw the first 5 minutes of that. I'm going to keep all the politics, as much of it as I can, out, because I still stand on that principle. The reason I got into the UFC is because there wasn't a whole lot of politics involved. It was just entertainment. I saw what was going on with the NFL. I saw what was going on in Hollywood. And it really got in the way of the whole point. I don't mind a good political message every now and again with a movie, because I've been watching Squid Game Season 2. And honestly, I think that show's cutting pretty deep right now, But it's how you do it, But when it seems unnatural, which now it's starting to, because we are in the beginning stages of a deterioration of a podcast, my message to Rampage Jackson would be, it's not too late, man. You could go back to just talking about the sport. Like when you had Tony Ferguson on, where he's talking about, I don't want to retire yet. Okay, that's a controversial one too. Not in the same sense, but it's still something we want to hear, because Tony's like the guy who got me into the sport. But let's go back. Because the Forrest Griffin one, right, that's where I read the comments, and it's like, dude, I see where this is going. You're about to take down another episode. I don't think you should. But the likes weren't showing up when I checked last. The dislikes weren't. And you could tell someone as interesting as Rampage, because I remember I met him at a local Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournament, and I shook his hand. And he's like a wrecking ball of a human being. Why would this guy be apologetic for anything, right? And to those of you who are busting out your tinfoil hats saying, okay, who's pulling the strings, Rampage? You know those guys who are saying the Illuminati controls everything? This is when they start to have a point. Is when you're tiptoeing like someone's in the scenes, holding someone hostage. And I'm just saying, Rampage, you don't have to completely walk back and go complete 180 turn and just be as offensive and political on the other side. Because honestly, I'd prefer it if you don't take a side on politics. I really would. I just want to see Rampage be the same Rampage he always was, making us laugh with his antics. Because it's like, now he's afraid of controversy. And you know what's sad, too? Of all the people who deserve the right to own a popular podcast from me, it is Rampage. He took the hits. He was always in the title fights, fighting John Jones. The best of the best at the time. Even if you're winning, you know how hard that is on your body? The guy has earned that big of a paycheck, and now he is sabotaging it all. I'm just living in my apartment, talking about this in my spare time. I never took a hit from a pro fighter, But the people who aren't taking the hits are the ones who are getting the pockets. Nothing wrong with that. But if they're the ones who are willing to do honest, analysis of what's going on, and they're saying something's going on with Rampage Jackson, I would have to say this is where we're seeing a paradigm shift, And that's the thing that people kind of don't understand, though, is like, well, no, I think people understand. I think Rampage is yet to understand it, that people are asking questions right now in our world, A lot of crazy questions. I think at the time, a lot of people are seeing a lot of things shift, a lot of things are changing, and a lot of people are tired of this censorship. Now, I'm not a completely 100% offensive, tries to be offensive just for the heck of it guy. But sometimes the whole tiptoeing because you might offend someone, right? My whole monicum in life has become you're going to offend someone no matter what, so you might as well be you instead of trying to walk around eggshells because you're going to get analysis paralysis and you're going to self-sabotage that day. But if you look at the comments of those, people are all saying the same stuff. And let's not kid ourselves anymore. Something's going up with Rampage Jackson. And you know what? I don't know what it is. I'm not going to say who. I'm not going to call Illuminati. I'm not going to call, all UFC fighters are controlled, right? Just like the Hollywood elites, I'm not going to go that far. But I would like to hope that it's not too late for Rampage. And I'm saying this as a fan with good faith. Rampage Jackson, I love you, buddy. I really do. You don't know me and I don't know you personally. But you have inspired a lot of us with your crazy antics of authenticity, even though you were a wild guy. But don't do this, man. It's not too late to just go back to talking about the sport. Like I said, you don't have to take a political side. I prefer you don't. But it's not too late. Whatever is going on in the back, I can't control it. I don't know. But all those people who are saying something weird is happening, I get it. But it's early morning. I do want to go to the gym. I wanted to bring this up because I do understand that, sometimes I have to play this game of giving my 2 cents on these controversial issues. And this is definitely an anomaly in the world of MMA commentary. And I might be going back to just talking about the fights for a while, I do want to go back to making strictly fight content. I'm not trying to go the MMA Rego path or anything like that. But as I said before, this is definitely worth covering. And I feel like I just want to be that fan who came from good faith and just told Rampage, man, don't let them bully you. Because I don't know how they're bullying someone of Rampage's structure and strength, but you can tell he's not acting like himself and something weird is happening. But peace.